Today I'll be building an Espeon themed keyboard using the Bakeneko65 mechanical keyboard kit that I purchased from Cannonkeys.com. Everything comes in a black custom foam carrying case, and inside, the aluminum alloy case can be found in the bottom compartment. It was wrapped in their branded microfiber cloth, and as you can see, I chose the lavender color, which matches the color of Espeon exactly. When ordering the kit, I chose the zinc weight option, which they feature as a budget-friendly alternative to brass for weight. I did weigh the case prior to building it, and it weighed about 2 pounds. In addition to the microfiber cloth, the kit also came with other items located in the top zipper compartment. A bag with cherry clip-in stabilizers, the 50A silicone O-ring gasket, a bag with rubber feet, screws, and a hex key, the daughter board, an FR4 universal plate, a JST cable, and the hot swap PCB. To begin the build, I put down my rose pink American Haptics Workmat and organized all the accessories the kit came with in the top compartments. As recommended by Cannonkeys, I decided to go ahead and add the rubber feet to the bottom of the case to protect the painted finish. Not all of the Bakeneko65 cases are painted, but the lavender one is, and I definitely want to protect it as much as I can while I work. Next, I'll need to install the daughter board into the case. I took it out of the bag and connected one end of the JST cable into it, making sure that everything is lined up correctly so no pins are bent. Then I placed it into the case and brought out the screws included with the kit. The kit came with a hex key, but instead I used my Wowstick electric screwdriver to screw everything in. Here's how it looks up close and from the outside of the case. I want to test the PCB out before I continue the build and make sure everything is working correctly, so I temporarily plugged in the JST cable into the PCB. Then I plugged in a USB-C cable. I used my pink fine-tip tweezers from Stationery stash and opened up VIA. I went along the PCB, touching the tips to each hot swap socket on the back. All the keys lit up in the software, so I unplugged the JST cable and set the case aside. For stabilizers, I'll be using the included stabilizer kit, which includes 3 2-unit wires and 1 6.25 unit wire. These are clip-in stabilizers, so I won't be needing any washers, screws, or tools to install these. I'll be lubing the housings first, so I brought out my new Switch Keys brush kit that the Keycaps company sent me. You can get 5% off of this kit by using my code MOCHI. I grabbed the small flat brush and the 205G0 that I'm storing in the kit, as well as the Kinetic Labs lube palette. I went ahead and lubed all of the housings for the stabilizers, but for the stems, I did see that they had to be clipped, so I brought out my precision snips to help. As I worked on clipping them, I also lubed each one along the way. I assembled all the stabs, and here is how they look so far. As I mentioned, these are clip-in stabilizers, so I only need to push them into the PCB to install them. This saves me a lot of time because screwing in stabilizers can be tedious for me, so I do like using these from time to time. Now that they're all installed, I need to lube my wires with my grease syringe kit from the Keycaps company, which you can see more info about by visiting the link down below. You can get 5% off of this kit as well by using my code MOCHI. I applied the grease to the wires using the syringe, then used a stem holder to help me move the stabilizer grease around inside. I love this method for lubing wires because it's very easy to do and a lot less messy. Here's how the PCB looks with all of the stabilizers installed. The next step will be to add switches, so I grabbed the plate. For this build, I'll be using KTT HaluHalo switches that I purchased from Dangkeebs. These are linear switches inspired by the Filipino dessert, and the pastel purple housing matches the lavender case color so well. They featured polycarbonate top housings and nylon bottom housings, as well as a palm stem. They come unlubed, so I used Krytox 205G0. I chose not to add film to these due to very little stem wobble. I grabbed a few of the switches and added them to the plate, then I carefully placed the plate on top of the PCB. I did not push the switches in just yet. I want to be able to support the PCB from the bottom to avoid putting unnecessary pressure onto it, so I picked it up and pushed the switches in, keeping this in mind. I added the switches to the rest of the PCB, and because these switches come in 3 different stem colors, I decided to alternate the colors in a pattern. They were very easy to insert, and I didn't have to add any unusual amounts of pressure to get them to go in. Here's how the PCB sandwich looks so far. The keyboard features an O-ring gasket and it's actually quite stretchy, so I just place it around the edges like this. Before I place it into the case though, I'll need to connect the JST connector once again. After that, I can just place the PCB sandwich into the case and tuck the JST cable underneath. The O-ring uses friction to keep the PCB in place, so I had to apply some downward pressure to get everything to sit correctly. Here's how the build looks so far with the PCB completely done and installed in the case. This is my first keyboard kit from Cannonkeys, and so far I've been really enjoying the process. I love that I barely had to use any tools, and the amount of screws involved in the project is far less than many of the builds I've been working on lately. I can already tell that this keyboard is going to sound great, and it feels very sturdy with the aluminum case and zinc weight. Since I'm done with most of the build, I'll now be removing the Workmat so that I can finally add keycaps. For this keyboard, I'll be using PolyCaps Hippo PBT keycaps that Kinetic Labs sent to me. I'm so happy that they reached out to me to sponsor the key set because the colors are absolutely perfect for the Espeon theme that I envisioned. These were designed by HipyoTech and they feature die-sub legends with fun Hippo-themed novelties, as well as a cherry profile. I've always been a fan of the key sets from Kinetic Labs because they're such great quality and have crisp legends. They also support many layout types, making it an all-in-one kit. Before I get started with the keycaps, I want to add my new artisans to the build. The first one is an Espeon keycap that was handmade by Aumipon. I also received a Leafeon one, but that's for a future build. I added the Espeon one to my escape key. For the rest of the artisans, I'll be adding these pastel pink and purple resin keycaps from Pink Treetops. These have beautiful sakura petals inside as well as gold accents and sparkles. I added them to the last column on the right. After that, I just needed to add the regular keycaps. I love the subtle pink accent keys and I even decided to go with that color for the spacebar since the keycap set allowed for it. I noticed that the dark indigo legends also match the eyes on the Espeon Artisan. I couldn't have chosen a better combo for everything I added to the build, and I'm extremely happy with how this keyboard looks. I actually weighed it shortly after and it's now about 2.8 pounds with the keycaps. I decided to go ahead and add the keycaps and HaluHalo switches to my board source 3x4 macro pad to match the keyboard in photos. I also wanted to feature some of the wonderful novelties in this keycap set. Overall, I have nothing but great things to say about this keyboard. I always get questions about kits to start with if you're a beginner, and this is certainly one of the best options out there. At the time of filming this video, the Bakeneko65 kit on Cannonkeys is priced at about $165 USD, and they aim to offer an affordable aluminum keyboard with great sound and feel, which I can definitely agree with. A few reasons why this keyboard kit is beginner friendly is because it doesn't require any tools to assemble. While I did use my electric screwdriver for the daughter board, it already comes with a hex key, but those were literally the only screws needed in the build. The only thing you'll need to add to finish it is lube, switches, and keycaps. As for the sound and feel, the HaluHalo switches are very smooth and have a bit of a clacky sound profile, which I do like. Combined with the aluminum case and FR4 plate, it feels very sturdy to type on and produces a higher pitched sound. And for the overall look of the keyboard, I've already expressed this, but I'm just blown away by how everything looks together. The Artisan keycaps from both Aumipon and Pink Treetops really bring this board to the next level. Not only do the keycaps feel great with the switches, but they also complement each other visually. If you'd like to check any of these products out, including the Bakeneko65 build kit, I'll be sure to include a link down below. As you can see, I've been working on some Evolution themed keyboards lately, and I have plans for more that I can't wait to share. And finally, if you liked this video or found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thank you again to Kinetic Labs, Aumipon, and Pink Treetops for sponsoring this build, and thank you all for watching!